Good evening, everybody. It's Bobby Harvey with another edition of Amtrak California Zephyr Station Stop live here in downtown Ottumwa, Iowa. Today is Sunday, March 30th, 2025. The weather is much different than the past couple of weeks I've done this. It is chilly, cloudy, and it feels more like a winter day instead of early spring. And today, unlike the past couple of weekends I've done this, the California Zephyr is running a little late. It's been on time the past couple of weeks. Today, leaving Mount Pleasant about 15 minutes late. So it's not really late, but just late enough that it still is not here. Since we just started the stream here at about 6:50. Now, a lot of you are joining in already. Welcome, Mark. Apparently it's chilly up in Washington too. Washington, Iowa. Of course, that's not very far away from here. Just a little northeast of here. CBD de both says hello. Welcome, guys. So again, welcome to the stream. We've just started out tonight. Amtrak is probably, at this point in time, another maybe 15, 20 minutes away. And as I said momentarily, just a few moments ago, the train would probably be here by now if they were running on time, if they're running a little late. As I've said in previous streams, I always check in on the Galesburg rail cam to see what's coming. And some of the conversation that they were having over on that stream was that there were some wind restrictions out east of Galesburg. There were very heavy winds, so the train was running a little slower than normal, and I think that contributed to the slight delay that the train has tonight. And it is a slight delay. 15 minutes is nothing. It can easily be made up if they don't lose any more time along the journey going west. Kirk is here, asks how the family's doing. We're doing good. James is here from Hamilton, Ohio. He's one of our regulars. Welcome. So for those of you just joining in, and maybe some of you who have not watched before, this is the Ottumwa station here in Ottumwa, Iowa, downtown. We can pan a little this way. You can actually see that we are actually right in the middle of downtown. In fact, most of downtown is pretty much right behind the station there. The heart of downtown, Main Street, 2nd Street, and on up in there. This is actually kind of the far west end of the heart of downtown Ottumwa. We are looking east in this view, and this is BNSF's Ottumwa subdivision, which is part of the main line between Chicago and Denver for BNSF. The Ottumwa subdivision runs from Galesburg, the station in Galesburg, and it runs west through here all the way to Creston, Iowa. And then it becomes the Creston subdivision on west towards Lincoln, Nebraska. Dakota's here. He says hello. Welcome. And as you can see from the camera, it is a little windy out here. It's been windy a lot. And this is actually very different from the weather. Wow. Mark has slipped in another $9.99. Well, thank you very much, Mark. I really appreciate that. That is great. Thank you. Dakota says it is snowing in Boone. That is crazy. Of course, Boone, for those of you that probably know, is the home of the Boone and Scenic Valley Railroad. It's the only, sorry about that, kind of windy. It is the only regularly operating tourist railroad in the state of Iowa. And their operating season is about ready to kick in the full swing here, kind of around Memorial Day. They start running trains pretty much every day. at least one train a day. There's actually, I'd like to want to correct that. I think they're running trains, it used to be daily. I think it's like Thursday through Sunday now. Well, thank you very much, Mark, for that super chat. I really appreciate that. Now, Kirk says, and I think this is right, because I remember seeing this on some of the chat from the Galesburg Rail Cam, says that, yeah, get that back up there, Chicago was under a tornado warning earlier. I think that's right. I think there were some tornado warnings and watches around there. They were mentioning that on the chat from the Galesburg Rail Cam earlier when I was skimming through there looking for news on the trains. Now, as far as other trains here at Ottumwa, an eastbound, I think it was a grain train. An eastbound grain train went through about, I don't know, about 5 minutes before I started the stream. And I think a westbound train must have just gone through before I started filming, too. They got an approach signal down there. They're talking to a westbound train. I don't know if it's already gone by or... have to see here. Now, something else that might add to our action tonight, I don't know if you can see it, but the eastbound signals down at the new Ottumwa crossovers is green. So we might have an eastbound freight train coming, but depending on what's going on with Amtrak, and it looks like they're getting pretty close because we've got people coming out now. The relief engineer just walked by. Sure, the eastbound signal for a movement on main track 2, which is the one farthest away from us, is green. So there might be a freight train coming, but Amtrak might actually block us from seeing it. So obviously we can't cross over. We could, but they're kind of starting to frown on that because this middle platform, which I've mentioned in several previous streams, is eventually going to be removed. And obviously when that happens, we're not going to be able to cross anymore. So with that, we have the train pulling in now, the westbound California Zephyr, only running about 3 minutes late. Definitely made up some time between here and Mount Pleasant. So here they come, rolling into the Ottumwa station right now. And like I was saying, we have an eastbound freight train. It is coming right now. So Amtrak is going to block us from seeing that train, but we'll turn the camera here and kind of zoom up. Might be able to see a little of it. as they're doing the change of engineers down there. Yeah, we'll be able to see a little of it. So we've got Amtrak's California Zephyr sitting in the station right now, and we got an eastbound coal train going through on Main 2. And as you can see, it is a very windy night. And cold. Dakota says, engage locomotive sails. Well, the only problem with that is they'd be going against the wind. It's blowing right at us. I guess that makes sense because Zephyrus, the god of the west wind, is essentially what this train is named after. There's the end of the train, the coal train going by. Alrighty. So they just gave out the warning whistle. Passengers are getting back on the train and their train is getting ready to head out. Platform's about clear now, besides the conductors. And we'll pan back to the front and get the engines. And with the running brake test complete, the California Zephyr cruises out of the Ottumwa station. Now they are only running about 10 minutes behind schedule, so they've already made up 5 minutes since Mount Pleasant. It is highly plausible that they will be running close to, if not on time, by the time they get to Omaha, providing they don't run into any other delays along the way. The Zephyr is clear. They have left the station here in Ottumwa, and they're on their way west to the next station of Osceola, followed by Creston, Omaha, Lincoln, and all points west. Now, per tradition, it is now 7:07 p.m. We are going to keep the stream going for a little while longer just to make sure there's not anything else going on. So to those of you just joining us, you might want to reverse the or come in and leave. But live right now, we have the Zephyr leaving the station. Going a little while longer to see if we can see anything else. The railroad seems to be pretty busy tonight, so you never know.